Welcome to Stunt Hangar Video Hangout. This is October 16th, Friday night, and we're going to discuss sport and competitive building, flying, crashing, and repairing model airplanes. Show and tells are welcome, as are other topics. Planes, trains, automobiles, whatever you like to do in your shop. Please keep it family room friendly. Also, would like to encourage you to come into stunthangar.com. If you are a member, just come on into Stunthangar and go to the At the Bench thread, and I'm going to post there a link momentarily on how to get into this space. And I look forward to seeing my friends here. We can hear each other, see each other. It's like a campfire meeting where we just talk and brag and stuff like that about model aviation. Now, if you're not a member of Stunt Hangar, to join. You need to register with your first and last real name and a space between the two, and a valid email address. Okay, and then Sparky, he actually approves everybody himself, so he's busy, and he will get to you ASAP. But if you find that you're having a little bit of a problem, let me know in the comment section, or like others, can view the program live on YouTube at our Stunt Hangar YouTube channel, and you can come into the text chat box and post your inquiries there, comments, and things like that, or ideas. Come in there, and I have two monitors, so I keep an eye on both the chat box, what's going on there, and plus monitor the conversations in here. So I think, we please like, subscribe, and share these videos. That helps build the matrix of the channel, the analytics, and helps the channel grow. Also, your super chats. There's a below the chat box. There's a little like dollar sign there, and we greatly appreciate that to help support the channel, and also to help support Sparky with the acquisition of equipment. He goes to contests, and he actually films live right there the event, so you get a chance to see. Like, I saw the Nationals. I'm here in my comfortable home here in Escondido, California, and I was able to watch the thing at Muncie, Indiana. So it's pretty neat. So please consider doing that. And without further ado, let me post the link. So here we go. Link is posted, or posting right now. Okay. All right. So hopefully I'll have some company here. Let me see. Did I cover everything? I believe so. So anyways, let me know what you've been doing this week. What's going on with you? I know there is a contest in Louisiana. I think Baton Rouge, Louisiana, this weekend, and there are some people there that I know there, and I hope they have a great time. I just spoke to a friend of mine briefly. I was hoping he'd be able to come in tonight, but he's going to try for Monday. And I have another friend I've reached out to. Hopefully he'll join us this evening. But anyway, so talk about what you've been up to. I went flying this week, Wednesday and Friday this week. Today was hot. I love the weather out here, but I was flying in 97 degrees today. So I'm sure one of my friends, Tom, who lives in Minnesota, he's gonna think that is odd in October, and I agree. I think it's kind of odd to have those high temperatures, but what are you gonna do, right? But besides that, it wasn't too windy, just hot, and we had a push-up canopy that kind of kept us out of direct sunlight, and that was very helpful. Appreciate that, my friend Joe, for providing cover for us. And I went out today with my red Strega, and I have a new Stalker 81 in that motor, and I had previously a Stalker 81 in the same plane, and I left the new motor stock and so I got to do a little bit of change. And I think the Venturi on the new motor is uh, does not have a large enough ID. So the plane, this is a heavy plane, by the way. This is 80 ounces. Hopefully, the last heavy plane I ever fly. I hope. Um, After flying Sparky, who's the proprietor of this thing, his plane is Junar XL, which is at the time I think it was only 58 and a half ounces, and my Red Strega is 80 ounces. That is that is huge difference. Even the people assisting me were getting tired holding this heavy plane because I was having a little difficulty getting it started. So hopefully those days will end when I finish my new Strega that I'm working on. Well, I should say working on it very slowly. Um, I'm just trying to find time for everything I got to do, and unfortunately, sometimes I don't get to the plane. I haven't been to the plane really for a while. I'm actually trying to overcome a little short uh, of completing the top block because I'm trying to put a scoop right at the nose ring. Never done this before, and so once I figure this out and get it to my satisfactory, I think I should be again off to the races. But you know, when you build a plane and you're um, as this part, at least for me, it's just part of building a plane. It's overcoming things, overcoming because this plane I'm doing it's a modified. It's being modified, so I'm actually modifying as I go. It's not like I'm building it according to the plans or according to the kit. The fuselage is going to be totally different. And so with what I want. Hey Jim, thanks
Hey,
for
how you
thanks.
doing, Charles?
I'm doing well. Thanks for coming in.
Hey, no problem. You hear me all right?
I hear you all right. You're looking good.
All right, all right,
So
good deal.
yes, what you been up to?
Well, getting ready for King Orange this not this weekend, but the following one. So
Oh wow.
got my car out of Hawk and I had it in the body shop. So
Right.
I got that done just in time. I got to start loading this weekend, so I got all kind of signs and all kinds of stuff to take up there.
So
Hey,
you actually run the event?
well, I'm the co-CD. My
Wow.
brother Wayne runs the event. He's the actual CD, and then I get stuck with all the bad stuff.
Well, I'm sure he would feel he couldn't do it without you. So I
Oh
can't.
yeah, nah, we have a great time at it, and we used to run the Stunting Fun as well, but it just got to be too much. We're getting a little too old, I think, to because when we go to most contests, most local contests, we judge because we're both Nats judges, so. Um, you know, that's why we like to go to the Nats and not judge, just
Yes,
fly.
yes, yes.
But we haven't been able to do that for a few years. So,
So
so hey,
your brother's
what,
Wayne Smith. I wonder if I went to the Nats not this year but last year. I thought I had
yeah,
checked.
yeah, I've seen you up there at
Yeah,
the
I wasn't
Nats.
there
I
once.
probably
I'm
talked
there
to
once.
Wayne.
So I wonder
Yeah,
if I stayed in the room with Wayne. If I was with if I shared a room with your brother Wayne. I can't remember the guy's name that I shared a room with.
well, he usually sometimes he brings his wife and his nephew was doing it for a while, or his grandson, Sam. And so we usually all just split a room when we
Okay.
go. So probably you didn't stay in a room with him, but um, yeah, he's a good modeler, and he's been doing it like me since he was about 8 years old. So
Yeah.
how you doing? Hey, I got something to show you guys.
Oh, awesome. Let me make you big, Jim. I'm gonna click on you just in a second here. Hang on.
All right, that's fine.
You are big now.
All right, so what I have here, this
Wow.
this this motor belonged to Jim Silhobby. I have two of them.
Wow.
Jim had all these kits and he gave them to a member of MCRC. And that guy, Roger, called me and said, Jim wants all this stuff to go to kids. So, the kits aren't hard to get rid of. And he had a couple of planes that were already built. So we run the SPPA, so we have all these youth programs. Kind of
Right.
a slow started with COVID-19, but
Oh, I bet.
so we're selling these motors to put some money into the nonprofit SPPA. But this first one, I don't know what Jim got this for, but this is actually, I don't want to take it out of the bag where I had to get a rag. This is a Johnson 32.
Wow, nice.
It comes with, in the original box, it has all the little extra pieces in there.
Yeah,
See
very
them in
nice.
there?
Yeah, I
It's
see
got
some.
two maintenance kits, the directions. And what Jim told Roger is that both of these motors were redone by George Aldrich. And this motor, I'm not sure, this Johnson. So I'm going to put these up on Stunt Hangar for sale on Monday, but I figured I'd give all you guys that are IC guys and that they'll be up there on Monday. So that way, if you want one. But this is the Johnson.
Nice. Now,
And
does that case have
I
the
think this
number?
thing is brand new.
Does that
I
case
mean,
have the marking of 32 on the side of the case or not?
no, it doesn't actually, but in the directions, maybe John would know, it doesn't say anything about what it actually is,
Okay.
other than he said it was reworked by George Aldrich. But in the directions, I'll show you this. Maybe one of you guys will remember what this thing is. I never had a Johnson. But you can see right here, I'll get it up there where you can read it. You see where it has the specs in there? That's
Yeah.
probably close.
Yeah. Oh, right there. Just right there. The
Right
stroke.
there. That's
Yeah.
pretty good, right? So the
Yeah.
stroke is 770,
Right.
and the bore is
730.
730, and then let me get it again. And
And
then the
I see the
displacement is
point.
33. What is that?
Yeah, 322.
322. So I'm not sure, but I think that means it's a 32.
I think you're right.
That's right.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
I
So
think the 32 came about with swapping some rods and pistons and cranks around, and one of the long stroke engine, if I remember correctly, and it was a pretty decent stud engine.
yeah, and this one, Jim said this motor was reworked by George Aldrich. Now, maybe you can tell, but what he said, one of George's things is he liked to put Allen head screws up in the top.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if a regular one did that or not. But that's just the way it is. And I'll tell you, boys, I think that sucker's brand new. So
Yeah,
I had
looks like it.
Bob Whitney look at it, and he said, it's probably worth about $100, and the same thing on the other motor I got. So if any of you guys are interested, just check on Stunt Hangar on Monday, and I'll stick them up there. I got pictures of everything. So let me get this other greasy sucker out of here. I'm gonna have to take a break and get a towel.
Okay.
My hands are a mess.
Well,
Just rub your hair with it,
Yeah, it's well lubricated. I can tell you that.
yeah. So now you're flying electrics, right? Right, Jim?
Yeah,
That's why.
yeah. So I don't really have any need for it. In fact, I sold off and I could have built that one. There was a guy, Hank Deselman, and he lives down in the Port Charlotte area. He's the guy that originally designed the dolphin. I have a picture of it, of
Wow.
what he called his. I don't know if he called it a dolphin or what, but you could tell it was a dolphin. Um, and he went to a contest. He was a big contest director back in the day, and Lou McFarlane came and saw this airplane and said, "I want to work with it." And so Hank just gave it to him for a couple of weeks, and he went home and did a bunch of drawings and plans and modifications, and that's actually what Jetco printed. So Hank actually had the original kit that Walter Umland made of his dolphin. You know, the
Yes.
kind of, so a real nice kit, and so I gave that one. I'm not greasy. I might as well stay greasy. So this is the. I had to give me a Clorox wipe to clean my desk off. This is a Super Tiger G21
Ooh boy.
40. And this one actually does say 40 right there. It's a little hard for me to tell,
One
Charles.
second. Hang on.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead, you guys.
But that's it. It was
Doing?
originally an RC motor, and Jim had the Venturi and all this stuff put on there for this. Same thing. This one I think this is the one that it actually says GA somewhere on the case here, from George Aldrich. But Jim said this motor has hardly no life in, much running at all in it, because he used it in his Red Gypsy. Now, John, you might know I don't even know I know what a Red Gypsy is, but I don't know if that's the one he won the Nats with or what it was, just a later one he had. But this motor was in the Red Gypsy, and he's got a set of head shims for it, and he also has the muffler and the little bracket for this motor.
That's interesting. I was going to ask you if that had the combat tuning or the stunt tuning, but seeing as how George worked on it, I would imagine it's probably the stunt tuning.
Yeah, it's definitely stunt. And this motor I'm sure of because he used it in one of his stunt planes, his Gypsy. So that one I'm pretty sure of. So that one, it comes with the owner's manual and all that stuff in there as well. And somebody told me that a Super Tiger 40 wasn't near as good as the what they had back in the old days. Didn't they have? No, they only had a 40. Because I had a G21 in my carrier airplane. Probably this same motor. Now that I think about it. Oh yeah. Yeah, I see George's right up here in the head. It actually has where George scribbled his name right across the head there. So anyway, I got that one too, and it'll be up for sale on Monday. So anybody interested? Bob Whitney told me that either motor was probably worth about $100 a piece. So I figured I'd show them to you guys just in case. I know we have some motor aficionados out there.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys, it's always every time I come in here, it's like, well, is it electric or is it, IC? And everybody likes different stuff. But for me, the best motor is a rocket motor. Have you ever seen the
old Fox rocket?
No, I actually got second place at the Nats one year, the only year I ever tried, because I didn't know what I was doing or I'd have won. But I ordered a radio control ME-263 Comet, a foamy, and I wanted to fly it in the fun scale at the Nats. So I flew at a couple fun scale events and I won real easy. And John Brodak told me that, oh yeah, you are the Nats, you'll win. Yeah, no, that ain't how it works. first thing the guy did before I even got up to where they weigh it, he says, "You can't fly that." I said, "What do you mean I can't fly it?" And he's like, "Well, because it's got a rocket on it. It's against the rules to have a rocket on it." I said, "No, it's not." So, oh God, they had this whole big thing. They had to go to the AMA headquarters, and as long as the rocket is affixed to the airplane, you can have as many rockets on it as you want. They don't care. You just can't fire rocket projectiles. That they care about. So anyway, they did all that and finally got me in. And when you fly control line scale at the Nats, you better really know about that rule book, because they just smoked my ass on the rule book, because I hadn't read the whole regular control line scale book. I only read some rules about a fun scale. Well, like when you do your level flight in scale, they're very specific. It's kind of like stunt. You assume your attitude of high flight or level flight, and you have to keep your motor at one speed. Well, I'm out there just having a blast. I got this little badass electric motor in the front, and then I use the rocket to either take off or shoot it while it's in the air. And so I'm just flying around high flight, just goosing this motor left and right. So they just smoked me, man. The first flight I had, they come over and gave me a warning and said, "Well, we could disqualify you because you have to have your motor started within a certain amount of time once you enter the actual flying circle." Well, this motor takes a lot to get it going. You got to hook up igniters. I got smoke sticks on it and all this stuff. And so it takes a while to get it all together. So we just took it inside the circle, started getting it all ready. I mean, I watched some guy with like 8 half-A motors trying to get that thing around. He was out there forever. But it's okay if it's your motor that won't start. But so anyway, it was quite an experience. I had a great time at it. And one of these years I'll go back and do another Comet, probably. Maybe the same one, flying fun scale. Because what I did when I got home was I got that book. And I read that book. And I could say, oh, yeah, they were just killing me left and right. So that was a fun time. I enjoyed that year. But it's too hard to do if you fly stunt. Man, they are just back to back. And it was some pretty rough stuff. But if you want to see the rocket, you can go on YouTube and just do a search for atmospheric bound. That's the very first flight I ever made on the plane down at MCRC. And it was pretty exciting flight. First one. But once you get your lead house position at the right height, it's no problem. That plane flies good. So, but it's kind of fast. So that was about it. I didn't have too much. I just wanted to get in a little bit. I've had a long day today. I've been up since 7 working all day. I didn't get done till 7. So, but it was good. So how's everybody else been doing?
I had a day I drove 70 miles to my eye doctor. Got there at 3 o'clock and found out that they close at 2:30 on Fridays.
Nice.
140-mile round trip.
Yeah, that's bad.
But I had a couple questions I wanted to ask Eddie, if I can, if I take just a moment here.
Yeah.
Eddie, on that set of plans, did they just print that on a standard sheet, or did they, because those plans are not, standard length. They're standard width, but not standard length. And have you checked the box with the scale on it? Is the scale matching? Because if it's too wide, I think they might have had the scale off on there, because it's supposed to be on 36-inch wide paper.
Yeah, the only thing I got printed out was the fuselage. I hadn't printed out the wing yet. The wings on the shit. What am I trying to think of? The file that you sent me.
Yeah.
Is when you pull it up on the computer, it's cut off just about a ½ inch or so on the left side of the wing or the page, which would actually be the right side of the wing, and then on the right side of the page, part of the your JB Special box down in the corner is cut off. So I don't know if that's all in the same if it's going to print actually what's showing or if there's more to it. But the fuselage, yeah, I checked the scale when they printed it off. But when they brought it up on their computer, it shows down in the bottom that the spectrum that it prints in, and it had it like 40 something inches. So they had to go in, yeah, they had to go in and change the margins down to where it would fit in the 36-inch page because it wouldn't fit on their printer.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't know
It
if it was in the translation of the files or if the program or something. I'm not sure.
Well, it was a PDF file, and so
Yeah.
those are pretty accurate.
Yeah.
And I would imagine, because I know it's 36 inches wide,
Right.
and so if they're having a problem with it being, 43 inches wide or something, and them have to shrink it back down, they've screwed up the whole drawing. If that's the case, and nothing's going to fit.
Yeah.
So
of course, the length is however long they want to print it out. That's the when they printed the fuselage off, I checked your scale on there, and it was 6 inches right on the dot. So then I measured something else on it that I knew what the size would be, and it's correct. So them changing the margins on it didn't affect the drawing any.
Okay, they probably then. I'm sorry, guys. I know this is not. It's like watching paint dry for you, but this exchange on an email would take like 16 different emails back and forth.
Yeah.
Right. Apparently, what has happened there's something that is they've. I don't know what they're using or what you used or what they're using to open it up to look at it in the first place. But apparently, they're vertical. I guess that's the white X, Y. Anyway, their vertical was off apparently because it should be 36 inches. They shouldn't have. When they had to bring the margins in, they were bringing it back then to where it was supposed to be. How long is the drawing from?
I don't know. I'm at my in-laws right now, so.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, everything's on it. I mean, the lengthwise is fine. There's like 3 inches on each side.
Okay.
Margin.
Okay. So it's just you're worried about the wing. Okay. Well, check with what you've opened it up with. Check what the length of the wing is. The drawing is on there because it's being cut off, and perhaps you only have 48 inches to deal with, and it might be a 58-inch sheet, 36 by 58. So anyway, just I'll turn it back to Charles because I don't want to bore everybody with it.
Well, also the what size tank was you going to put in that? Because
I designed that to run a stalker, and a stalker 60 will run on a 4-ounce tank with no problems.
Okay, I'm going to put a Super Tiger 51 in it.
you need about 7 ounces of fuel. You need a 7-ounce tank.
Yeah.
Six
So
and a half.
I'll have to modify something somewhere to,
Well,
or get me a Cosmonato.
First off, see if you could fit
Yeah,
a
$200.
6-ounce RC tank in there, and go with the RC clunk tank like I've shown on here.
Well, that's what I was looking at. The only ones I could find on Stunt Hangar that would fit inside it was the 4-ounce.
I think the 6-ounce.
The 6-ounce is like it's like a maybe 3/16 of an inch or 1/4 inch tall.
Well, I think the 6-ounce one will fit in the same fuselage width, not the length, but in the width.
What you talking about, guys?
Oh, we're talking about the JB special, and he wanted to know what size tank. Yeah. Well,
I don't have that one.
Let's take it. Let's take it. I think we've taken up as much time as we should.
Yeah.
Let's take it. Tell you what. Have you got my phone number?
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me a call tomorrow. And let's see. It'll have to be after about 1 o'clock my time, which would probably be about 2 or 3 o'clock your time.
Yeah. I'll be busy tomorrow, sometime till tomorrow evening. So I don't know what time. It'd be maybe later on in the evening before I could call you.
That'd be fine.
Okay.
That'd be fine. Okay.
All right.
All right. Thanks, guys, for bearing with me.
While I'm talking, any of you guys that want to answer, the Nobler that I've got, that I acquired from somebody that had already built, it was already built. It had been crashed. Looks like the nose had come off of it, and they glued it back on. They did a fairly good job of it. But I don't know if this had any bearing on why it crashed. But I noticed when the flaps are, well, I was playing with the wires up and down, and I noticed that I have twice as much down elevator as I do up. I don't have a gauge to pitch gauge or anything, so I just used a ruler. I've got 2-inch deflection going on down and a 1-inch deflection up.
Oh, perfect.
Now, that being said, on the flaps, when you have down elevator, your flaps are up. Okay, so I have, when I go with my up elevator, where I've only got 1-inch deflection, I've got more down flap with less up elevator. When I go just the opposite, I have more elevator and less flap. So I don't know if that had something to do with them crashing, not being able to pull out of a maneuver or something. So question is, do I level my flaps and move the elevator up to level?
Yeah, get everything level, 0, 0.
But I mean, okay, would I zero my elevator and move my flaps, or level my flaps and move my elevator up? Because with the elevator level, I mean, the flaps level, I've got down elevator. About maybe 3/8 of an inch or so, a half inch.
Raise your elevator.
That's what I was going to do. That's what I thought. Yeah. And of course, with the Nobler, I cut open the side there to where I could get to the clevis in the back, and it's soldered in. So the adjustment is on the clevis at the flap horn.
Right.
So I had to cut a hole in the side of that to where I could get to the nut to move it and get all that out. And so I just want to make sure I was doing the right thing by moving my elevator.
It sounds like you might find a cure by moving the whole stab, cutting it loose and moving it to where you can, because it sounds like you got a long push rod on there, and
Long push rod.
You may not be able to adjust the push rod without taking it out and making it shorter.
Yeah.
In which
Well,
case,
I've still got plenty of thread on the clevis at the horn,
right,
so I
but
should be able to pull the clevis off and move it a couple of threads and pull it back up and fasten it.
well, okay, that's fine. But if none of that works and you still got the problem, you can cut the stab loose and move the whole stab and elevator forward and back to where you get it set up to where the flap is 0 and the elevator is at 0.
Right. Okay, that worked. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, you want to try to do that, and then you want to make sure you have equal movement on everything as well. Okay.
Right.
And
Right.
usually when you set a plane up, you want to have anymore. We're using 2 holes on the flap push rod, so that the hole going to the push rod that goes to the elevator is 90 degrees from the flap, and it's 90 no, let me say it again. It's 90 degrees from the push rod going back to the tail, and it hits the tail push rod at control horn at 90 degrees. Okay, that way everything is going to be even. And then we drill another hole in the flap control horn, so that rod is 90 degrees from the pivot point on the flap. That way, no matter how you move it, it's going to be pretty much 0-0, or the same amount of movement. And then you have to decide, do you want more flap movement or less? Now, I built an old Korea, and it flew well, but it flew. Huh?
Is that Bart?
You don't recognize his voice, John?
Huh?
That's a
This is
special
Bart,
guest
yes.
star tonight.
That sounded like
Well,
Bart.
I'm going to
Yes, it's Bart.
guest. Anyway, I've flown them with that, and I've flown them with a little bit less flap movement, and they seem to fly a lot easier.
Yeah.
So a lot of people build 45-45s, and sometimes they have a problem. I had a guy that built one of my Tempest, which should be about 37 degree flap or 45 degree movement on the elevator. He made it 45 and 45, and although I could fly it, you really had to honk it to make it turn.
Well,
Once he made that change, it was better.
That Tutor 2 has very little movement of flap and elevator, and it flies like a dream. So
Yeah.
that's what the main thing was, I just didn't know if I needed to zero my flaps and adjust my push rod to move my elevator up, or vice versa, level my elevator and move my flaps. But
You need to, Eddie, you got to check and see where the bell crank is before you do any. Your bell crank has to be centered.
Yep.
Then you look and see what's up or what's down. You can't.
It sounds like the bell crank is out of center.
Yeah.
If it's out, then everything's out.
To be even, and then you center your flaps and center your elevator. Somebody assembled that incorrectly. So it's either the flap horn, the flap push rod is too long or too short, or the elevator push rod is too long or too short. But you won't know that unless you can see the bell crank at neutral to see which one is off, or
That's
both.
Good place to start.
Yep, exactly. I was going to say that too. Make sure the bell crank is neutral, right? Going 4.5 on the main arm. Make sure that it is dead nuts centered, and then center your flap to level.
Center your flaps in your elevator.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that right, Bart?
You bet.
That's exactly.
So it sounds like I got some work cut out.
Well,
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, but
do this. Whenever you go an airplane,
one of the suggestions, Ed, would be to change that clevis. It most likely is a stock clevis. I wouldn't take any chances. I had the pin on my clevis on my Nobler R brake, probably overhead 8, and the plane crashed. So replace those clevises. They're cheap. They're no good.
Yep,
that's for sure.
If I can get them off there without
First,
actually taking a plane completely apart.
well, if you have to take it, to take it apart. Sounds like a lot of work, but look at it this way: you can't fly it like
I
it
wouldn't.
is.
Yeah, because apparently that's why that crashed. Is something wasn't right.
Right.
Yeah, take the thing I check it. Make sure the bell crank is square.
Yeah.
Make sure your bell crank is square, and then get the flap horn in there straight. Then check from the flap back to the elevator. But you got to get the bell crank and flap joint right first.
Yes.
And that's a screwed on most of them. That's a screwed on clevis, which, like he said, is a terribly cheap clevis. I threw mine away as soon as I opened the package. But check get the elevator. Get the bell crank straight first, and then to the flaps. Then work on the flaps to the elevator. And once you get everything at 0-0, you got it made. But don't worry about cutting into it, because you can't fly it the way it is.
Right.
It's just going to be frustration the way it is.
This is
just trying to get into that elevator or to the bell crank is,
Oh, I know.
Yeah, it's going to be a bear. Yeah, but when you do get it level, put a clamp or something to hold the lead out so that it'll stay level. It's not going to move while you're doing the rest of your adjustment.
Right.
As Mike can tell you, I have a little bit of experience with arc noblers. I've flown them probably as much as anybody I know. And they fly well if you take the time to get them right. But you've got to put the time into it.
Yeah, apparently somebody did do this. Of course, they've it's got the jam nut on the clevis up against and everything, and they've epoxied everything. So I'm having to cut the epoxy off, and it's just being a pain in the ass right now.
Yeah.
Of course, I had a learning process.
I started. It had some rattling around in the wing, so I cut the covering off, and pieces of balsa wood fell out. So I started stripping, and it was one of those things where you're pulling up a root out in the yard, and next thing you know, you're all the way across the yard, and your yard's tore up.
Oh yeah.
So I've got it completely stripped down. There's not a piece of covering left on it. But I'm glad I did that, because I found 3 more spots that were broke.
Well, it's a good airplane if you take the time and can get it right. It's a good airplane.
I'm gonna redo it. I ain't gonna be able to fly it till next year anyway. So I've got all winter to do it.
Is this a Brodak ARF?
I think it's top flight.
Top flight ARF.
Yeah, got to remember those things are made, and they throw them together as fast as they can.
Well,
now,
if you have questions about it, just remember what kind of glue it's made with. Anything's put together with hot glue, you got to wonder about.
Yeah. Well, this one, I mean, I pulled all the covering off and everything. It's actually constructed. I mean, as far as now, what type of glue they use, I don't know. But as far as the joints are tight. They're sanded smooth. It's a nicely built plane. As far as the joints go, now, like I said, what type of glue they used, I don't know.
That's all right. That glue will work anywhere except around the motor mounts.
But yeah, like I say, when I put
a lot of the Stragas were built with the hot glue, and then guys wondered why the front of their plane flew off while they were flying.
I've seen that done twice.
Yeah, the heat from the motor got to the glue and let it go.
We had 2 guys, the whole front end, the nose moment from the wing up broke off, tank and all, and it just flew off into the grass,
Yeah.
And they just coasted the plane down, glided it down, landed it, and went over and picked up the nose of the plane and fixed it.
Yeah, you said all the covering is off of this airplane. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
It's naked.
Now's the time to cut into it. But on your next one, if you get another one, it's going to be a part. So before you put the wing in, make sure those controls and the flaps are straight. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And then you tack the wing in. You work on the tail and make sure that's all straight before you glue the thing together. It's a learning process, and it takes a while. It takes a while. Most of it's been there, and I can't tell you the stuff I've gone through. And,
Yeah, it's like I built that. Of course, it's a profile, but the Tudor 2 was an ARF.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I make sure my wings level, because right now I've got a that black oh God, Phil, I'm like you. I can't think of nothing.
That's okay.
CRS is real, brother.
The twister I've got.
It's okay. I can't remember what you just said. So
the twister I've got. If you look down the wing, and with the stab, they're off about 3/4 of an inch. So I'm afraid if I fly that one, it's going to do a barrel roll on me.
Yeah.
And
well, you got to be sure it's straight. And one of the better things you could do is get a couple incidence meters so that you can hook one on the wing and make sure it's dead level, and make sure that the stab is dead level. And alignment is so critical. Just like the controls are the heart of the airplane.
Oh yeah.
If things are not aligned properly, you're going to have problems.
Yeah.
And, so
that's where I was having trouble with that. You know, like I said, with just the controls on that one, was seeing which one I had to correct too. But like I said, I think I'm just going to get me a cheap borescope from my phone and stick up in there and see what I can look around and see what I can see.
Well, you can cut the top of the planking off on the inside. You look at your bell crank. Make sure it's straight, and make sure your flaps are straight. You may have to put a new rod or adjust a rod that's in there. Yeah. You know, but they've got to be straight, or you're gonna have a rough time.
Well, I got plenty of glue, so I can glue it back together. So
I've flown through a couple pretty good maneuvers.
Like Sparky said, it's just wood. You can glue it back together.
You can. Do it carefully and don't add a ton of weight to it.
Oh no, I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
I'm not going to use Bondo or nothing, but
yeah.
Mike, the way you can tell that if you have a rod too long or something's out, while it's all still hooked up, you can put the horns. I don't know if your flaps are hooked to your horn, but put those at level first, and then you can see what the bell crank is doing. And if it's not straight in there like it's supposed to be, then you know you have an adjustment problem between the bell crank and the flap.
Okay, well, that's what I've actually picked the I've pulled the clevis off of the flap horn, so my bell crank is just free. It's not doing. And if I with the bell crank off of it and I zeroed my flaps, the elevator is still down. I still have down elevator.
Okay, you got to lengthen that. As long as you get the bell crank square first, get your flaps where they should be, and then adjust the length of your push rod going to the tail.
Yeah, because like I said the other day, I was playing around with it, and I noticed I was just working my flaps or the lines, and I got to looking at it, it didn't look right, and I had like two inches, which is almost a 45-degree deflection on my down, and only had 1 inch deflection up.
Yeah, that's nuts.
And I think, but the flap was just the opposite.
Push rod's a little short.
When I went up, I had twice as much flap, down as I do when they're, everything's just the opposite. So
okay,
it just didn't look right.
Sounds like you got a bell crank issue too. So
yeah, I'll carry into it and see.
I have a question. Can you guys see me?
Nope, not yet.
Nope, not yet.
I don't know why. I don't know what's going on here. It's my first time on this thing.
Hey, Mike, you there, Mike?
We were all black like you when we started, Bart.
I'm sorry?
I say we were all black like your little square when we all started.
Yeah, but I'm still a black square here. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, Bart?
Yeah.
something that might interest you. Jim there, it is Jim, right? There in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jim just showed us a Super Tiger 40 21 that Aldrich did some magic on, but it was Sil Havey's engine out of his red Gypsy. Isn't that the Gypsy that Dick Williams flew in?
It's out of Jim Stillhobby's red Gypsy.
Dick Williams didn't have a Gypsy.
No, Jim Stillhobby.
When his planes were stolen and he went over to the world.
No, those were two Dick Williams Electras.
I know, but he told me that while he was there, since he didn't have an airplane to fly, he flew.
Yeah, he flew. I'll be honest with you, I don't think he ever told me what he flew, but it didn't fly very good.
Well, he flew Sil Havey's is what he told me.
He flew on a Sil Havey's airplane, but he didn't mention what it was.
Yeah.
I think it was Sil Havey's backup airplane. I don't know if it was a Gypsy or not.
Okay.
Yeah, but this motor came out of the red Gypsy, and it was reworked by George Aldrich.
Okay.
And he said that you could kind of tell, I don't know if you can see it, but he said George always used Allen head screws up in the head.
Oh, I always do too. I change them out.
And one of these two motors, I have a Johnson 32, I think we determined. Jim Stillhobby donated them, so we could give them away to kids or do something to promote kids. So
Johnson?
What's that?
You say it was a Johnson?
Yeah, it's a Johnson 32.
Well, I'm just a kid. I'll wait for it in the mail.
Yeah.
You flew in my.
That's
a
motor.
I knew Hyde Johnson quite well, and I knew Dick McCoy quite well. So that stuff is special. Yeah, and those are good motors, 46s.
Yeah.
And is the audio screwed up for everybody else, or is it?
Yeah, it's screwed up.
No, it's screwy tonight.
Oh my God, this is horrible.
Yeah,
it's a little strange.
Yeah, this Johnson, I don't think Bob Whitney looked at it, and he said he thinks it's a brand new motor. He don't think he ever used it for anything.
Oh, there's Bart.
There you go.
There you go.
These engines are going up on the Stunt Hangar classic. Anyway, on Monday.
Well, I'll give it a shot. I've got a Chromebook, and it's a little different. I'm having a few other issues with it, so I've got a guy that's going to come over. The guy that sold it to me, he rebuilds these things. It's like a brand new. I got the printer and everything for $300, and it's a heck of a deal. It's a nice computer, but I just have to learn how to use it. And I'm really stupid when it comes to this stuff.
Do not feel like the Lone Ranger.
I can build airplanes, but I can't run one of these things.
It doesn't really matter how long you work at them either. They can still be.
Yeah, they can. Well, I'm just glad to be here. I think this is fun, and if there's anything I can do to help anybody, please ask or let me know.
Yeah.
All right, I want to know, what kind of helium did you use in that Ringmaster?
Mine? That's 29.5 inches. It's heavy.
Oh, I know it's not the airplane; it's the guy on the handle.
My first one was when that was first done, that was 25. That's been rebuilt and painted and everything. My first Ringmaster was 32 ounces, and it would fly out here through the wind like there wasn't any. Honk that old Fox up with a very costly Fox, boy, it pulled around pretty good.
I think that had something to do with the guy on the handle, because I watched you fly a biplane.
Well, not anymore, buddy.
Biplane. Wait a minute now. Biplane from Texas, turned right around. Next flight flew the Ringmaster. Then the next flight flew another of somebody else's airplanes, and flew all three of them better than the guys that owned the planes flew them. So it's got something to do with the guy on the end of the handle.
Well, I appreciate that, guys. A lot of people don't understand. They think I was such a natural, where I may have been a little bit, but when I was flying against Bob Palmer and Ed Southwick, those are the guys I came up with. They were already really good, and they would fly maybe five flights a weekend. For 7 years, I flew between 15 and 30 flights every week, and I loved it so much, and I wanted to be a champion, and that's what it took.
Well,
I remember when you were the champion, and I remember the airplanes. It was sharp.
What airplane
I was
was
a
that?
young fella, but
Was that a Tempest?
it was a Tempest.
No, I didn't. Well, I won with the Tempest, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's directly off of Dick Williams Electra. Actually, it's the same wing, same control system, just the tail and the fuselage were changed a little bit. Same moments. I actually lengthened the moment on my later ones. They were 13 3/4 from hinge to hinge, and my Tempest is, I can do that at 14 inches, and I can vary the nose a quarter of an inch because I built 4 of them, and they were all just that little bit of difference, mainly for banging.
Were you at the 1968 Nats?
No, I couldn't.
No.
I was in the Army.
You were in Holland?
No, I got drafted right after that.
Oh, okay.
I went to Korea and I built an over there and flew it all over the place. And we had another kid that built one of those big Japanese Super Connies. He didn't know how to fly it. He had 4 NU-19s in it. I could have that thing started and off the ground in about a minute and a half.
Yeah.
We flew a doubled 70-foot line, 15,000 doubled on each up and down. It pulled so hard.
Oh, yeah.
But no, I helped form a little club there that had been formed. It's called the ASCOM Escadrille. ASCOM is where our base was. Yeah, what a 121 Medevac Hospital was. And so I got 4 other guys going, and we all won medals at the big U.S.-Korea meet. So I felt pretty good about that.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Had a lot of fun. It's been an amazing hobby. It really has. It comes at a price when you work as hard as I did. You miss a lot of life and other things too. But that's what you do with it. If you're a race car driver, you do that. And if you're,
fisherman, whatever. It's the way it goes.
Yeah, it's just what happens. So I'm very blessed, and I still got a few airplanes, and I haven't been flying much. I need to get out and start flying some more.
Yeah, you're in a perfect place for that.
We're just glad you.
Say again?
Said you're in a perfect place to get out and do some flying.
Yeah, I'm in a great spot. Our club doesn't have many active members right now. In fact, we're not even holding meetings right now. There aren't enough people, here now. In the wintertime, I don't know if the guys will be coming down from Washington or not. Washington, we usually have a couple of older guys come down, but I don't know if they're going to be coming down anymore. We're all getting old. It's a long way for them to travel and expense and everything. But do have a nice flying field. And then you guys haven't been to Tucson at the VSC, man, you ought to come.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. We have a good time.
Yeah, my first time was this year, and I had a blast. Thank you, Bart, for hosting me and letting me stay at your house. Appreciate that immensely.
Boy, and he took over too. I got to tell you guys.
Charles is like that. Yeah, he is.
Yeah. Not hard to believe at all.
We had a good time.
I'll tell you
Hey,
what.
hey guys, can I try sharing something?
Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
Let me call it up here. I've been working on this CNC laser cutting machine. I got all the parts yesterday, so.
Oh wow!
Let me just try see if this video will play on here.
I'll send you my plans and some wood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want you killing my battery.
I already got my boot in the mail to him.
I don't doubt it. I'll tell you what.
What is that?
Just tell me when you got some slack time, Tom, and I'll send you some material.
What are we doing? I had to go get me a drink. What are we doing?
This is
Tom's CNC machine.
Laser.
Oh.
This is
Some guys are
31,
just spoiled.
31 inches by 12 is the cutting area.
Nice.
Okay, so I'll have to cut the fuselage sides, but that's okay.
Some guys are just spoiled.
I just want something to cut ribs out with, so I don't have to cut so many ribs.
Very nice.
Hey, what?
Got to introduce you to a rib slicer. You'll never want to do it the other way.
Yeah,
Oh, here we go.
believe
There it goes.
There's the first cut.
Of course, I could just do I-beam wings and not have to worry about it.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I kind of
Yeah.
missed on my
It's
material.
not really I-beam. It's New Millennium, but
Well, that's your first cut, though, right?
Yeah.
Now, did you build this from scratch, just by
Yeah.
components? And
It's totally from scratch. Yeah. Everything.
okay, it's official. You ain't normal.
Yeah.
I didn't think any of us
I'll tell you.